introduce the next group is Kinne from Baisha Junior High School and Dennis from Wuxi Junior High School. Both of them are come from澎湖. It's really the island outside the Taiwan Islands. So, and their club partner, Hannah.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kinne. I'm from澎湖. We have a very long topic for this one. So because Dennis and I are junior high school teachers, so we want to figure out to focus on our grammar. And these are my students, so there are 12 of them. I'm their homeroom teacher. And we have another foreign teacher in our school, that would be John. They may be not good at English, but they really love to speak to him. And for the application that I have a sentence pattern chart, and you can see it will be like that. So, okay, let's pass. Okay, so I have two doubts for this sentence pattern chart. The first one, you have so many posters in the US, but I don't have anyone in my school. So I'm thinking maybe I could just write them on the whiteboard. And I gave them the worksheet. And we finish this on the whiteboard and then get to write them down on their worksheet. And my second restrictions would be, it doesn't fit all the sentence patterns for this semester. I have the weather topic, I have the transportation topic, it won't fit for them. So I'm doing something like this. We ask them to fill in all the blanks on the whiteboard, and they get to mix them up, and we can make some funny sentences. For example, Jason and Frank plan to eat frogs. They can change the subject. And the second part, I'm talking about the class lesson. Normally we have our class lesson on Thursday. Actually, that is John's class. I always follow class from him. In that case, I can cover my curriculum. And for the first part, the 7th grade, they kind of introduce themselves to Hannah. And the 7th graders, they will be doing all the following lessons with Hannah. And the 8th grader, I asked them to introduce澎湖because there's an English village in our school, so some of them are trained to be the docents. So I asked them to introduce, to show Hannah what they learned about in the camera. And for our first topic, we have the food. I took a lot of photos in WW cafeteria, so we kind of show them to them. And we try to combine the Western style breakfast and the澎湖style breakfast. So in their worksheet too, they can combine these two different breakfasts, so they can have the clay oven roast and coffee for their breakfast. And for the first worksheet, they have to look at the menu and try to order some breakfast from Hannah. And because this is our first class, so Hannah is trying to teach us how to use gestures like this to show her yes, she get it. And the first class, their reactions is very shy. Everyone looks so serious and uncomfortable. And the second part, we have the currency. And we show them a lot of products and ask students to guess how much is the product. And for example, Hannah showed them milk, and I showed them milk too. But milk is very cheap in America. But when you are Taiwan, the prices could be 2 or 3 times or more. So same stuff, different prices. And we also show some products that is what Hannah might buy in Taiwan. And I asked them to bring their PX Smart flyers, and they have to cut down the flyers like this and ask their partner how much is it, and then go to the camera. Hannah will ask them some questions from their worksheet. And for this topic, they can use the sentence pattern like how much is it or how much does it cost. It's really up to them. they get to learn two different sentence patterns. And for this one, sorry, I want to focus more. In the following survey, I asked them what topic that impressed you the most. There are 6 of them. Their answer would be the currency. For them, this topic is really difficult one because you have so many coins. It's not your fault. And you have the money less than $1. So we are always get so confused about it. So they are quite impressed about this topic. And this one we have the transportation. And we kind of exchange our orders. I teach first and then Hannah. So I teach them the sentence pattern. So for Hannah, she has a lot of time. She doesn't have to teach the sentence pattern again. So she has a lot of time to design the class. So we have the storytelling part. Hannah tells them a story, and for the first time, they just need to listen. And for the second time, they have to fill in the answer in their blanks. In this case, they can practice their listening and they get to practice their writing. And because they have to finish their sentences, they have to finish 4 sentences, I can go to somewhere by some kind of transportation. Some students, they can finish this part really quickly. So they'll get to help those slow students. So they can help each other. And for me, this lesson impressed me the most because you can see this photo, it's not very clear. When Hannah was teaching them, take a car and buy a car, my student, Angela murmured to me, teacher, who's the guy who took this photo to Hannah? Why bother? Because they saw the reflections on the classroom wall. There's a guy there. At least I can know they are very concentrated in this class. And for the sightseeing, because when we have this topic, it's getting very close to the Thanksgiving, so I asked Hannah to take some photos with her family. So it's the first time for us to learn about Thanksgiving from someone we really know about, not from the textbook. And for the smoked watermelon, because before this class, our another teacher, John, introduced Thanksgiving to them, and he mentioned about smoked watermelon. So it looks like meat. It's good for the vegan, and Hannah is a vegan. So I asked her in class, Hannah, have you ever tried this? The answer is no. So this kind of gives the student, another feedback. What teacher John is saying may have a different answer from another one. And we kind of show them some photos we've been to on the summertime. And this is the first time we have the technology problem. The computer just shut down for 5 minutes and we get back online, sorry. And this is the time that Hannah comes to澎湖. So we have the pirate game all together for every student. And Hannah will ask them some vocabularies, and Hannah will ask them some questions. And they get to ask Hannah some questions. It's very interesting. They have some really good questions for her. They ask her, what shows have you been binge watching? And have you ever been to Bruce Lee's grave? And Hannah answered, where is Bruce Lee's grave? Do you know the answer? Seattle? Yeah, they really have the good questions for her. And the second part, we have the澎hu's culture, glutinous rice animals. We are making this rice. And my colleagues, they are really nice to Anna. They made a turtle for her. In our culture, turtles can bring you good fortune and good luck to keep you safe. And at noon, we have the birthday party. The birthday person get to get a cake. So Hannah got one from our principal. And we have the English song competition. You can see there are 2 foreigners here. For a school just have 44 students, it's not easy to see 2 foreigners sitting there to be judges. And we get to play softball together. And for the second day, we kind of exchange our gifts. So she got the science noodles and pudding from the students, and students get some candies from her. And then we go to the neighborhood. we go to 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven is like their daily life. They have to be there twice a day. And we go to the temple. In my school, there are some students, they will go to the temple after school. So like this student Kevin, he is doing some kind of religious ritual to make an amulet for Hannah. So she can put this on her ear, put it on her ear to make sure you can take it home. Okay, then we will have the Chinese choreography to make sure she'll know which side to play on. So they took a photo for her. And for whole the afternoon, we have the skating pancakes and bubble tea, and she's shaking the tea with everyone. And this is our response. Most of them, every of them, they like this lesson. And I get feedback. They say, teacher, can we do this whole project again and make it longer? Yeah. And what impressed them the most, that would be the currency. And I still get some negative one from them. Yeah, only 2 students say I can mostly understand what Hannah say. And it gave me courage to speak to foreigners. There are some students that they don't agree with this. And I'm not so scared of speaking English. There's one student, he said, no, I'm still scared of speaking English. And that's my teacher inquiry. I just got into the classrooms and use my English. They are not surprised at me using English. And I try to copy all the vocabularies into real photo, and we get to practice these photos. Each class for 5 to 10 minutes for each class, and they can be in groups, they won't be so stressed out. And I get a result like this. They are not surprised at me, and they can make longer sentence. They really love teacher, their teacher to use posters and use photos to teach them vocabularies. And okay, these are the hearts, a lot of hearts. For us, the first time when we get to America, Hannah tried to hug us. It's so weird for us because we are not get used to it. And Hannah said when she tried to hug Dennis stepped back and reached out his hand. I got permission from her. I think learning English could be just giving a hug. Yeah, at first you just get uncomfortable and then you get used to it. I think that will be all. So Hannah, you'll be missed. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon everybody, and I need to say apologize to Hannah. And after presentation, I will give you a big hug for sure. Yeah. And I'm also a teacher from澎湖, and I'm Dennis. I'm from Huxi Junior High School, and there are 6 classes in my school, and for sure there are 2 classes in each grade. And usually I have 1 or 2 classes a day, so that means I will spend so much time in administration work. So thank you for this chance for me to learn a lot and gain a lot when I was in the United States. And as for our topic, because I want to coordinate with Tina because she chose to have sentence pattern chart to conduct in class, and I also choose Padlet to help students to practice sentence patterns from the Padlet. So here is our topic, the effect on English performance between the sentence pattern chart and Padlet regarding sentences making abilities in junior high school. And I think most of the time I use applications to conduct in the classroom so that students will have mobile devices and they usually use mobile devices to answer my questions. And today I use Padlet as a learning method to encourage students to make sentences. And here is the platform of the Padlet. As you can see, there are 3 words on that. Why there are only 3 words on that? Because I use one and delete one, and I can create a new one. Why? Later on I will tell you the reason. And here is the the students works here, and I asked them to make verbal noun, to make sentences, 5 sentences. And as you can see that there are some mistakes. So I would like to invite students to have group discussions or peer talk in class. Try to revise these sentences. Yeah, try to make it correct. And so far, here are some summary about the advantages of the Padlet. The first one is easy to access because students can use their own mobile devices to scan or to get them a link they can access to the platform. The second one is clear interface. When I post this one on the screen on the class, and students can see it very clearly, especially their pictures. And this is multifunctional because I can discuss and share ideas in class. Also, if students make some mistakes on the sentence, they can revise the contents anytime. And also, maybe there are some disadvantages of the Padlet. The only one reason is there are only 3 words available for free users. That means if you want to have more, you have to pay monthly or yearly. And the second one is, I have not found it yet. Yeah, because this is very useful and powerful. If you want me to be a little bit picky, maybe I would say, yeah, as for one page, you only post 1 picture. Yeah, no more than 2. And here are some different purposes of the Padlet. The first one is for personal introduction. The second one, making sentences, just like what students did from the previous page. Also, we can share some ideas on that or give comments or feedback. The 5 is personal experience. In the beginning of the semester, I asked students to share what they did in summer. So they will post some pictures and tell what they did in the summer vacation. And I let them to choose the most impressive one for me. And the next topic is about the reflection on our cloud project. And this one, I want to say thank you to one of the cloud partners because I still remember that after the sightseeing and we tried to get some food to eat donuts. Yeah, and on the way and in the car, the video played a song, something just like this. Yeah, and we sang a lot heavily. So in this semester, I choose to select this song and I gained 2nd place. So I need to say thank you, Janine. Yeah, thank you so much. And in the United States, I explored something new in the US, and we cook and we share dinners in cafeteria, and also this is the first try I joined the parade. And as for our lessons, we have plenty of time for peer cooperations so that I can hear some new ideas or some thoughts from other peers. And also I will write down some ideas on the whiteboard we can share together. And also I have some new ideas from other professors. And professor teach me how to use English to teach science. And also we have a sit round and we play the song. And as for Lori, she taught me how to speak Spanish. This is the first time I try to speak in Spanish, and this is very challenging. And after that, maybe I feel a little bit frustrated, and I have some reflections for my students. So after that, when I'm back from the United States, I won't be so harsh to my students. Yeah, because they are just a beginner for English. So I know what they think. Yeah, so I've been thankful for this chance. And also, Lori conducted the TPRS in the class. So this is one of the topics I would like to introduce this time. And yeah, in the United States, we have a lot of time for sightseeing, for excursions. And welcome Hannah to澎湖Island, and I prepared some interesting activities for her. And next picture, I invite her to join our orchestra band, and I conducted the song, and she just tried to play some, yeah, but she's so shy, yeah. It's just a try, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And as for our sport activities, I arranged 6 class, let her to enter 6 classroom, 2 grids in each class. And I spent 15 minutes for introduction, and I also start ice-breaking game. Yeah, and I use MM games to have ice-breaking. And as for the ice-breaking game, and I ask students to select 1 chocolate, because there are plenty of colors in that, and each color represents different topics. For example, if they select green, that probably represents family. Okay, just try to say something and share your ideas about family with Hannah. Or probably they will use sentence pattern. There are 4 people in my family. Or what about the red? Maybe friendship. Yeah, just try to say something about friendship. The yellow one could be their hobby, or they can share Hannah some hobby or their interests they do every day. Yeah. Also in class, I invite 3 presenters to make a presentation about tourist attractions for Hannah. And this time I selected 3 different topics. The first one is Little Park. Another one is Nanyao Village. The last one is Beiliao, Kuibishan, just the northeast part of the sea. Yeah, I think everybody are quite familiar with that. And after class, I took Hannah to the 3 tourist attractions, and we took photo together. And this one is the floating boat in Nanyao Village, a very famous tourist spot. And as for other activities, I have Christmas gift exchange with Hannah, and I also invite her to some school campus activities. And I cannot believe that Hannah play volleyball so well. Also, I invite her to hands-on classes in community. And this one, our topic today is sesame ball. Yeah, Hannah's one of the favorites. And in Penghu, we call this Penghu's waiting snack, 鸡粥. Yeah. And this is the first time that Hannah played the big drum. Okay, I skip that. Because Hannah said, yeah, she's a little bit too shy, so I skip this part. Okay, the last one is my inquiry project, TPRS. Yeah, you know that as for elementary school teacher, maybe they will conduct TPRS frequently, but as for junior high school level, this time I think this is the biggest try for me and very challenging. And this time I select this storybook. And here are some advantages of the TPRS. By repetition, students can easily memorize targets, vocabulary words. And sitting in circle can help students concentrate in class. And as for my suggestions, I think the number of the students should not be too much. Or I think you cannot conduct the TPRS so well, because when students sit in row, maybe they will talk frequently. And pictures with words can make students feel impressive about the storybook. And here are the sample of the storybook. And maybe I will try to select some words, for example, city, taxis, job, and museums, and I will print them out. And here is how I perform in class. Because of the time limits, I will post the video on the Facebook Society. Maybe you can take a look at that. And also, except TPRS, I usually use other apps to foster English learning. And here are some students' performance on Flipgrid. I still remember that I took students to the supermarket to introduce one item for Hannah, and I will be the first one. And maybe I spent 2 minutes to finish a Flipgrid. But as for students, each one spent half hour to finish the video. That means they practice a lot. Yeah, but I think this is a good try because by repetition, maybe students can get a lot and try to convey their idea clearly. And also, I will apply ED puzzle in TPRS. And as for this part, I will ask students to try to read the textbook about the dialogue, and they will have pairs. And I also assign them to create the 4 questions. Yeah, so that they can make sure that they totally understand about the meaning or content from the dialogue. And here are some students' feedback. Okay, I just choose the important one. Majority of the students present positive responses to the design questions of the application, including Padlet, Flipgrid, and ED puzzle, and they were all favored by most of the students. And here are the students' feedback. I plan to play one for Hannah because I did not see that. I assigned this assignment for students, yes, just yesterday. So I did not see any one of them because of the time limit. Okay, I have to say thank you for everybody. Thank you.
Hi everybody. I'm Hannah, and it's true. I am a hugger. I like hugs. So some of you are already familiar faces because this is my second year in the cloud project. I was really excited to be asked to return. So this is our first conference my first conference last year, and then this year we're in it as well. And last year I actually joined quite late in the program. So the program begins in maybe April, and I joined in November, and then came to Taiwan last December. So this year I was really happy to be a part of the program from the very beginning, and I was actually really lucky because when I had my first lessons with my co-teachers, Tina and Dennis, I had the same students from April to now. And so I think that was really great that I got to see my students from 7th grade as they move up to 8th grade, and we get to even have more lessons next month. So this year, I'm actually in junior high instead of elementary, so that's a change for me as well. And it's actually a welcome change because junior high is closer to levels that I typically work with. And my class sizes, what I found was we had to modify a lot of things between my classes with Tina and Dennis. Tina's class had about 12 students, and Dennis's class had 26. And Tina, as she said, her students were already familiar working with a foreign teacher, whereas Dennis's students working with a foreign teacher was pretty new. And so I found that although they are on the same island, their schools are about 20 minutes apart. The students have very different experiences in an English language learning setting. So it was interesting to work with those two. And this is when I arrived in Penghu, Tina and her husband picked me up from the airport. And I don't see Tina, I just see this tall man on the side, and I was very confused. And then Tina comes out, and I was like, oh, phew. So I felt very welcome from the beginning. And the first place I went was Tina's school, Baisha Junior High. And we had some trial and error through our cloud lessons, even though it's my second year in the project. Online learning can be really difficult, and so can co-teaching. They're both difficult things to begin with, so to kind of marry those in a way that is really successful takes some work. So I think everyone here has worked really hard. What we ended up finding was just a lot of scaffolding worked really well. So just some thorough lesson planning and building up our lessons from bare minimum, like Tina said, I would just read them a story. And after I read it the first time, I would have them do one small activity, like maybe fill in a blank, and build up from there. And I think the scaffolding allows students to be much more confident at their production at the end. And so eventually move on to producing language themselves. Like Tina said, we had some technological difficulties sometimes, but always communicate and overcame those. And I think something that we've been working on in both schools is students performing versus producing. So students can be practicing a sentence pattern, like Caleb and Beth kind of talked about in the beginning. They just memorize something. But then eventually, you get to a level where you are producing and maybe it's not exactly super accurate, but students are trying and coming up with things on their own. And so working through that, I think, is a great part of the cloud project. And what worked best was junior high students, they're at a level where they have particular interests and have some more global knowledge. And so junior high is super fun to just share cultural and personal information. Here I am on a break, and all of the girls in my class and all the other classes come in, and they just want to ask me questions like, what are you binge watching? Like, what do you like to eat? Or just random questions that they're sincerely interested in me and my culture, and that they have been working on figuring out how to actually communicate with me. So even the outside of classroom experiences were really fun. And as Tina said, I'm a hugger, and I thought it was so sweet because Kevin, the student, took me to the temple that he goes to 3 times a week. And so he gets to take me there and show me this place that is really familiar to him, but finds new language to talk about and describe where he is. And at Dennis's school, it was a different experience and just as fun. The harder part for this, as I think another cloud partner mentioned, is having a large class online is so difficult to connect personally to students. You can't see your class, you can't see their faces, or necessarily pin a name to a student. But we overcame that, as Dennis sort of talked about. He likes to use technology, which isn't usually my go-to in a classroom. I'm not a super technology-oriented teacher. So it was fun to work with Dennis and learn about these new things that he really enjoys using. And we could personalize it by having the students do a video on Flipgrid and introduce their item at 7-Eleven. And that was actually really awesome because when I came to visit, we actually did a hands-on, the students had an internship at Family Mart. So the students go and meet a Family Mart clerk and they kind of teach them what it's like to do that job. And so the students got to tell me about their favorite thing, and then I go to Family Mart with them, and I can be like, what do you like here? Tell me about this. Like, if you come here every day, what do you buy? And we actually get to have an interaction in person. And so students got to teach me about volleyball. That was fun, playing volleyball with students, and how to do calligraphy, as you see at the top. I'm not very good. And throwing me around the house. Some of my takeaways from this program are definitely to prioritize student production. So in the cloud lessons, just trying to have students speaking as much as possible. I think that was definitely my focus and what I hoped to have happen. And in order to prioritize student production, I had to really modify my input. So moving to a junior high level, I wasn't sure how much students could actually understand. And I had to modify my English much more than I had anticipated. And the results of that are just a lot of student success, and students are actually happier. It's a better outcome. And so just be really flexible with my lesson plans and realizing, man, this is way too hard. Like, how can I actually communicate this? Because you don't need very complicated language to express a lot of ideas. And my key takeaway is just share what you know and have students do the same, because that's what actually interests them, is what they know. So thank you, Tina and Dennis. You guys were great partners. And Tina for hosting me at her home, and my schools, and NTNU, all of, the Cloud Project team. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. 我们从这个角度上 ，you is bringing a lot of rich memories.